find what works for you. But now, once we market, and here's where I really want to get into my speech, is that what do you do with these people? How can we sell more effectively? Are you ready to learn how to sell? Yes or no? All right, here we go. Now, let me go through this. Archimedes had an interesting principle. He said, give me a long enough pole and a place to stand and I can move the world. What does that mean to you? It means simply this. Sometimes our clients don't know how to make a decision. It's our job to grow our pole of influence and what? Leverage them to make a decision. Now listen carefully, because I don't like pressure. In today's market, you cannot pressure buyers. Would you agree with that? Pressuring today's buyer is not going to work. For example, when I look at influence, here's Webster's definition. The act of producing an effect without apparent exertion of force or direct command. I don't know about you, but I'm ADD. That doesn't work for me. So here's a simpler definition, right? The ability to guide a person's behavior and make them comply passively. That sounds a little Machiavellian. Let's move on. I don't like that one either. Here's my definition. The ability to nudge without pushing. Do you like that? Because that's what you want to do. This is what you want to that's what you don't. You want because that's how you do it. I'm going to show you how you can nudge your customers, grow your pole of influence, so they'll make that decision. Let me give you some examples. The Bureau of Labor Statistics came out with something interesting. Because I always have people say, Victor, but I'm just not good at selling. Victor, I'm just not good at selling. Clap if you've ever heard that before. Yeah, right? To you I say, shut up. Did you know 1 out of 9 people employed today are in sales? 1 out of 9 people employed today are in sales. But here's the interesting part. When they looked at the 8 of 9, and they took a closer look at the 8 of 9 who were not specifically salespeople, here's what they found. That they spend 40% of their time influencing and persuading. So we're all in sales whether we choose to accept it or not. Can we now accept that, yes or no? We all do it. Now let me give you some examples of nudging. Did you know that when you walk into a store and somebody comes up to you and says, can I help you find something? Did you know that sales go up 30% by simply asking that question? Wow. Did you also know consumers have a velocity? Listen to this. If there is a narrow aisle, you will walk faster, right? If the aisle is wide, you will tend to slow down. Haven't you noticed when you go to the perfume section, the women's shoe section, what happens to the aisles? They get real wide because you automatically slow down. You're being nudged through the store, and sometimes they need to slow you down. Like, for example, sometimes the aisles are too narrow, right? And you're walking too fast. How do they slow you down? How do they slow you down? You ever go like to Kmart, Walmart, or something like that? Come on, Target, and you're walking too fast. What do you see in the aisles? Bins, right? And see, those are mental speed bumps, because here's you. Hum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum. Oh, DVDs for sale. $5. Let me check some of these out. Right? Oh, I know you've been there. Don't lie to me. Do not lie to me, right? Some of you, I would never go to Walmart, Victor. Shut up, right? Just shut up. Did you also know that we're impulse buyers? Yes or no? When we go to the grocery store, where do they put the milk? Yell it out. All right, right around here. Whoever said refrigerator, thanks for the obvious, right? Yeah, right? Of course. They put the milk in the back, they put eggs in the back, they put everything in the back because they know what's going to happen is you're going to walk down the aisles, and on the way back you might see some cookies, some donuts, okay? Get the idea? So they're already nudging us to buy more. Did you know that when you're talking to somebody, just by simply touching their arm, one study showed sales increased from 55 to 81%. Wow, just touching the arm. Now remember, I said touch, don't fondle. Big mistake, right? Just gently touch. Sometimes I have to explain these things, right? Next, did you know they did an interesting study? They did an interesting study with waiters and waitresses. And what they wanted to find out is if you gave me your order and I mimicked the order right back to you versus if I paraphrased it, would that impact tip rates? And what they found out is waiters or waitresses that use the same wording as the customer, they mimicked back what they ordered, got 70% more in tips. Wow, just by mimicking. Isn't that fascinating? Influence is everywhere. How about this one? Let me ask you a question. You're talking to one of those customers. You're trying to talk to them about Plexus. Now, you got some good news and some bad news. Which should you present first? Raise your hand if you say good news. Raise your hand and say, give them the bad news first. Raise your hand if you refuse to raise your hand, no matter what I'm going to ask you today. All right. Rough crowd. Here's what they found out. That if the person is not motivated, you ever talk to that one person who just, I hate network marketing. You ever meet that guy? A girl, right? That person is one of those negative people. If they're not motivated, you present the bad news first. You say, well, okay, let me tell you all the things you're not going to like about this company, or all the things you're not going to like about this product. What do you think the person is thinking at this point when you say that? Well, at least they're honest. But if they're motivated to buy, you present the good news first. You with me on this? Subtle things you can do to increase sales. Now, did you know that people are more likely to say yes than no if they're in a softer chair versus a harder chair? How cool is that? This tells you that this really has a role in the decision-making process. Let me ask you a question. If I wanted you to select one of these two burgers, how many would choose the small one? Raise your hand. How many would choose the big ones? Raise your hand. Apparently, we have a lot of hungry people in this room right now, right? Now, did you know, on average, when two options are offered, people will typically choose which one? The smaller one. Now, how could I get you to buy the big one? I could tell you about the features and benefits of that burger, tell you about the extra meat, special sauce, cheese, lettuce, and all that good stuff. That's selling the feature, selling the benefit. I could do that, but there's a better way. Instead of trying to sell you that big burger, here's what I'd do. I'd offer you a third burger. Here's what studies have shown. When you present three options to a customer, in order to avoid making a risky decision, they'll choose the one in the what? Middle. Don't believe me? Go to Wendy's, go to McDonald's, go to Starbucks. There's always three options. And where do you think the biggest profit margin is? In the middle, because here's your decision-making process. Too small. Too big. Ooh. Okay, be the one in the middle. So, from this day forward, how many options are you going to offer your customer?
تهیه شده در رسانه آموزشی بیزمک. بیز همیشه یک گام جلوتر.